everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Kashrus, presented by the Kashrus Awareness Project in conjunction with Torah Anytime. Today I am joined by Rabbi Tzvi Rosen, Kashrus Administrator at the Star K and editor of Kashrus Currents. Thank you, Rabbi Rosen, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So nice to speak to you once again. Today I'd like to tap into a different component of your wellspring of knowledge, and that is dried fruits. Now, many people may think to themselves, especially if they're not so initiated, they're not so informed, what's the big deal with drying some fruits? What do you need such kashrus certification and things like that? But obviously things are never as simple as they seem. So walk us through what is required when you give kashrus certification to dried fruit facilities.
Okay. I had a very interesting and I say privileged opportunity from being in Turkey many times. It's a whole process. In terms of, obviously it's a natural fruit, and they cull from hundreds of farmers. Okay. What happens is that the farmers will have the apricots. They cut the apricots when they slice it. If you look at an apricot, then they will remove the pit. They will go ahead and they will sun dry it, and they will bring it into processing plants to go ahead and be processed. At this point, it's basically sun drying. Apricots are, if you want to call it, fairly translucent, and this is very fascinating. The first thing that they would do in conventional apricots would be that they will take it and they will put it into a chamber. It's called methyl bromide. Now, with more of the advent of organic, they shock freeze it. But methyl bromide is there to be able to retard or basically kill anything that would be infesting the dried fruit.
So that's after it's sun-dried?
After it's sun-dried, after it's brought into the plant.
Is that removing any remaining moisture? Is that what it does in essence?
The moisture is already removed as it's dried. It's come in as a dried product from the farmer. We're trying to go ahead and make sure, okay, that the apricot is basically bug-free. Uh-huh. Now, the way that they will do it in conventional, if you will call it fumigation, is that they will use a chamber. And that's step one. Step two is that they will have to wash it, and they will go ahead and put this, after it's, for a considerable amount of water to go ahead and to clean it, you will have inspection tables with light to be able to see through the fruit, and they have literally, with this plant would have 400 ladies that are there, first of all, going ahead and making sure that anything that would be imperfect or anything that would have any type of a question, they would remove. After they go and they take it in what they call the manipulation tables. The manipulation table could also be our tables of ladies who go ahead and actually, if you come in and you'll see that the apricots are nicely flat, and they can go ahead and it's mesudar, it's all set, because they have people at this table what are going ahead and taking each apricot, they're making it smooth, they're going ahead, anything that would have any type of a question, they'll cut it away, throw that part away, and they will use those apricot for pieces, not to throw away, but those cut apricots, and anything that can pass their inspection from the washing, from the inspection, and from the manipulation, then they will go ahead and they also have sizing, which I forgot to say. They size apricots to size. Basically, in the United States, we get size number 4. Mm-hmm. You can have 10 as large. You'll go ahead and have the small ones as the 1s. It depends if you're going to get grade Tier A apricots, you have Tier B apricots, and then you have the colossal ones, which we don't. This is the size that we get.
And they're inspecting manually for insect infestation, for discoloration.
That's
and
correct.
Things like that.
Yes, that is the way. Now, it doesn't mean that there's two things. One, that if, say, something that you will have a microorganism that can grow, because remember, once they go through the inspection, and once they'll go through the lights, and once you'll go through the manipulation, then you're far and away you have a clean product. It's really eino motzli. But people will still, and as you say, it's easily opened up because they have to slit the apricot to go ahead and
to
get the
remove
pit.
Right.
And I say that some people in Eretz Yisrael, they'll open up every apricot. If you have bad storage, then you have bad storage. So the apricots is really one thing that has. Now they will do, and we have to make sure, because if you will go and use these cut up apricots, they will go to jam companies, they will go to bakeries. They will also make sure that they will not have the apricots sticking to each other, so they roll it in rice powder. So we have to make sure, if let's say you have an apricot that is kosher l'Pesach, we have to make sure that the rice powder is really benifrod to make it. Now, when you have a product like figs, now figs have the same type of issues, of being they're dried, they don't have a pit. But the fact of the matter is that figs are propagated by a fig wasp. It's supposed to and that disintegrates into the fig. And figs would have a propensity to it depends on the season,
to be more infested, right?
That's correct. We actually have on figs that it's the Bedat's disclaimer. Everything has to be checked. Just to be careful. Because there are times and seasons that I've had situations and scenarios where the figs are so infested, I wanted to pull the hechsher. I said, look, they say, I can't do this. It's mutzli. It's mutzli. So they said, well, let's give you another chance. I said, send me from the new crop. I want 10 kilo of figs to come to the Star K. And we opened up, there's a lot of figs to open up, and 10 kilo of figs, perfectly clean. Perfectly clean. I was nishtaimim, as they said. I was surprised. But so the figs have to be clear. Dates, we also check. Dates have less of an issue. Then they have the medjols, you have the deglets, but you also have date pieces. Now, date pieces are not rolled in rice powder. Dates are rolled in oat flour. Oat flour is...
Again, the rolling is to prevent them from sticking together.
That's correct. Okay. So if you had, within one time we made an inspection in the United States, and they would have machines, and you'd have oat flour all over the place, how can you go ahead and have a date that's going to be kosher l'Pesach?
So that's an issue for Pesach. But just to clarify, all these examples you gave, apricot, figs, dates, those are all sun-dried?
They're all sun-dried. Now, you go to raisins, and even golden raisins, then a lot of them will be sun, others will be tunneled. They will also...
What does that mean?
Tunnel dry means being in an oven.
In an oven.
So you have the mile of the oven that you don't have bugs.
Right.
But you have to make sure that there's no release agent.
Release agent that
might go ahead and compromise them. There's also another thing with raisins, that you have what they call natural and oil treated. So the oil treatments, although the oil treatment is typically would be a sunflower or be a vegetable oil, but we've had raisins in Mexico. Mexico is particularly sensitive because Mexico still deals with lard. So even though you might have an oil, but the oil might be contaminated in an animal vegetable facility, so you have to make sure not only is it a question of the infestation issue, but you'd have an ingredient issue as well.
But going back to the sun-dried fruit, the apricots, figs, dates, if outside of a Pesach concern, because you mentioned some of them are rolled in oats, some may be rolled in rice, so that presents a chametz concern.
Correct.
As far as Pesach or kidneys. For the rest of the year, if something is sun-dried, what kashrus concerns are there?
The one kashrus that we would have a concern is a storage concern. And that's, this is something that you really can't avoid, because from the time that they're going to go ahead and pack, and they will ship, it's stored in, there's not an immediate turnover. Sometimes you would have certain storage facilities are particularly not temperature controlled, and that can promote infestation.
But wouldn't you have that concern even on a certified product? As far as
Correct.
storage?
Absolutely. So that's why we have to at least alert the consumer to know that, you know, as we've spoken to, you know, let's call the quality personnel in facilities. It said we do our efforts, be it in brown rice, be it in quinoa, be it in all these things that when they leave our facility, we've gone through testing and we've gone through things, but you have to the consumer has to be aware that these are natural products and that have a propensity, you know, of growth of these things. So that you have to go ahead and be aware that we're not there, the watchdog, to be able to check every piece of rice. So if you have a natural dried fruit, we would say, let's say you have a natural mango, and the mango just says mango only. We would ask the office, and they say that's mango, you can buy it. You have to make sure, though, because sometimes mangoes are sweetened. And if sometimes you'll have other types of ingredients.
Additives.
You will have this in dried pineapples, you would have this in dried mangoes, you would have this in other areas, or if you even the raisins that you want to know if it's going to be oil treated, that you may not, it doesn't say
and
oil
it may not
treatment.
even say it on the product.
So that's why I say it's always, it's especially to your listenership or watchership, that we know, Baruch Hashem, we have been replete with, you know, kosher products from the Far East to the Far West to whatever that we have. And Baruch Hashem, we've have a lot of reliable kosher organizations that have given us the opportunity to have wonderful kosher products available.
Right. Rabbi Rosen, it's been a pleasure again speaking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this conversation.
I appreciate it.